In pretty much every single one of my videos, I talk about daily cycles because it is a huge part of my strategy. And today I wanted to go over some daily cycles trades that I took last week with proof so you can see that I practice what I preach. So we're going to get right into it. We're going to be talking about Euro USD and gold today, and we're going to go all the way from the higher time frame down to the lower time frame entries so you can see the whole context of the trade and how I actually operated around, the conditions of the market. So let's get into it. Starting on Euro USD. With the higher time frame on these USD pairs, I do actually like to look at the dollar index. So we're going to go on the dollar index and I'll show you what I was actually looking at when it came to taking this trade. So this trade was on the 22nd of January. So it's the daily candle after this. So this is what I was looking at the day before. Now, essentially what we have here is price has equal lows down here. We had Trump news on Monday. Okay, so we got that big aggressive move to the downside, which actually formed a daily CSD, right? These last four up candles got closed beneath. So that forms a bearish order block, right? Which is the change in state of delivery. It shows me the daily is bearish. And that's a good sign, right? If we have these equal lows and we're displacing towards that, forming a daily sell program, then it's highly likely that price is going to draw towards these lows. So that was what I was anticipating on the dollar index. I was essentially looking for a bearish day. So then when we go on to Euro USD, okay, I'm simply correlating that with the dollar index. And you can see as well on EU, we formed a bullish order block, right? At the same time as the dollar index closing bearishly to form the bearish CSD, we got this big push to the upside that closed above these last four down candles. So we have a bullish order block, the day's in a buy program. And you can also see that we've built up equal highs. So we have equal lows on the dollar index. And we also have these equal highs on Euro USD. These ones are a little bit lower down because the equal lows on DXY would correlate with this high up here. But that doesn't matter. We have a good target on both. And we have a nice buy program on Euro USD. So essentially, if we go on to the 4 hour now, you can see that it also aligns with that bias, right? We have this FVG here, which has basically been respected to the upside. Then we have this FVG here, which has been respected to the upside. So we're building bullish order flow towards these equal highs. So for me, I was literally just looking at the next bullish PD array, which is this FVG here, to see if price would buy from there. So if I'm anticipating a bullish day, we're going to want to see that power of three, right? To price open up, move lower before moving higher. So essentially, I'm looking for that move lower within this FVG to take out some kind of liquidity, and then we're going to go ahead and make sure that aligns with a daily cycle, and then we'll go and pattern the entries. Cool. So then if we jump down onto the intraday, this is that 4 hour FVG. I've made the box a little bit smaller. It would look like that, but I just want it to be clear for you to see. And essentially now we're looking for a liquidity sweep and a daily cycle. So in terms of a liquidity sweep, we have two kind of different variants. So we have SMT here with DXY. Right, you can see that EU failed to get beneath this 11 p.m. high. But then if we go onto the dollar index, you can see that same 11 p.m. high here, price was able to get above. So we have SMT, and technically that is a form of manipulation, right? So you can class it as a liquidity sweep. So we have that manipulation there, but then we also have a manipulation of Asia's low. Right, so when we think about daily cycles now, this lines up very nicely with that London protraction cycle, right? Asia's low has been taken out. And essentially now we're looking for London session to impulse to the upside, right? So that's all good for the daily cycle. And then in terms of what Asia's actually done, we've built up a lot of low resistance liquidity. So we have these relative equal highs here. We also have relative equal highs here that were built up previously the evening before. So we have a bunch of low resistance liquidity to target. We have a nice manipulation within the buy zone. As I've shown you, all the higher time frames, the daily, the 4 hour are bullish, right? So we're very good on that side of things, right? We have pretty much everything apart from the entry now. So what we're looking for the entry is for the lower time frame to switch from this sell program that has taken us through the liquidity and form the SMT to now actually switching to a buy program, right? And forming that bullish order flow, because that shows us that price is now willingly moving away from the buy zone after taking liquidity. And from there, it should just be a straight shot to the liquidity target. So if we go on to the 5 minute, you can see these last 5 bearish candles got closed above here, right? We had a nice aggressive move, closing above these candles. So that forms a bullish order block. So that shows that price has gone from respecting the bearish arrays to the downside now to forming bullish arrays. Okay, so that's the switch that we need. And my personal entry was literally off of that order block. Stop loss went near the low, and then I put my target at the equal highs, right? So that's essentially what I'm anticipating London to complete, right? That move. If I play it out a little bit more and I put the kill zone on, you can see London open just after we form the low, right? So we're playing by the daily cycles because we've had an aggressive sweep of Asia. We're in London kill zone, anticipating a run to the target. Now, if I play this out a little bit, you can see that price does actually stall within my entry, right? If I got into the trade back here, right, that's where I executed. I had to sit through all of this price. Let me just get rid of that. I had to sit through all of this price action, right? But the mindset that you have to have within these trades, if price is not actually going against you, and it's just, you know, within your entry zone, you just have to be patient with it, right? The whole time, price was continuing to respect bullish arrays like this FVG here, right? You can see how perfectly the 15-minute closed outside of this FVG. So personally, I know it wasn't breaking any rules, and, you know, I just was patient and waited for price to push, and you can see that we ran to the target. Okay, now even if you missed that first entry, you could have actually got in on this second entry here. This is a propulsion block, right? The order block that respects the previous one and gets closed above is a propulsion block. You can enter off that as well. So I'm going to slap the execution screenshot up on my screen. You can see that I got in there. You can see that I got out at these equal highs. And then we're going to go and get into gold. Okay, cool. So we're on gold. And again, we're going to go over this higher time frame bias. So if we go onto the weekly chart, actually, we'll go on to the monthly, right? You can see that price has been extremely bullish, right? If you trade gold, you know what a monthly looks like. Consecutive bullish candles, okay? And price has currently respected this monthly FVG. We got a nice rejection away from there, so that's being respected. If we go on to the weekly, for a little while, price was in a bit of a consolidation period, right? We weren't really expanding to the upside as I wanted to see because price pushed away from the monthly FVG and then got stuck in this weekly bearish FVG, okay? But then we had SMT here at the lows. So if you remember from what we just spoke about with EU, when we get SMT, you can essentially class that as a manipulation, right? If I go on to silver, that very same low that we're looking at on gold was swept on silver. So we have SMT, which is manipulation. So because we had that SMT, if price was to build bullish order flow away from that now, I would be very happy to get back in the game and start to engage with gold again. And then if we go onto the daily time frame, you can see that's exactly what happened, right? Price has this perfect buy program all the way up the leg. We've been respecting bullish arrays like this bullish order block. That's actually combined with this FVG, right? You can just see how perfectly price is respecting these levels. Filled it in, rejected away, closed just outside the FVG, right? That's really what we want to see. Then we have this bullish order block that was respected. And then at the start of this week, right? This is probably the most important part of this price leg. At the start of the week, price moved lower initially on Monday, right? So we got a weekly power free. Price opened up and moved lower into this bullish FVG. Right, Monday formed the low and rejected away. So I was anticipating from there that the following days in the week were going to be bullish, right? That's what I wanted to see. So I was expecting Tuesday to be bullish and I played that accordingly. And then if we go on to the 4 hour as well, you can see it's also a very clear buy program, right? Price has formed this bullish order block with this bullish closure here. We have these last three down candles that got closed above. That's very nice. We're building bullish order flow. In terms of my personal buy zone, it was this 4 hour FVG. And I actually had 2 attempts at buying within this FVG. One in London, and my trade went break even. And the second in New York, which is the one I'm going to show you, where I got like 3R out of the trade. So price has retraced into that 4 hour FVG. When I actually took the trade in London session, price was not within the FVG because we had a level of SMT here with silver. So because we had that level of SMT, price didn't have to come into this FVG and potentially could have just flown. So I actually got my entry somewhere within here. And you can see we got a good reaction away. I went break even once this high was taken. So then you can see that price came back to that break even level. Okay, break even, no harm done. But then when we go and we actually look at the bias, it's still completely intact. So all you have to do is make sure the bias is intact and then plug and play another daily cycle. Right now, New York is coming up. So what do? We anticipate one of the New York daily cycles. And essentially the way that this played out is price swept out that low into the 4-hour FVG. Okay, so we've taken out the liquidity for the move. And if I play this out a little bit more, following that, price formed this bullish CSD on the 30-minute. So we actually have the sweep of liquidity and then the CSD that shows that price is now moving away from the buy zone after taking that liquidity. So that was actually my entry. I entered off of this bullish order block here, right? My stop loss, I'm pretty sure I put it at this low here. And in terms of the daily cycles, this isn't one I've spoken too much about on the channel. But essentially, we took out London's low and I was anticipating New York to continue the run to the upside, right? So that was the play for New York. And you can see that price taps into the entry and then we begin to fly. Now, this particular daily cycle, I know that instead of just running through New York, so instead of closing my position here at around 3 p.m., it can actually run through London close, which is from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. So you have an extra 2 hours there that you can potentially hold the trade. And that's exactly what I did. If I play it out a little bit, where's 5 p.m.? So here is the end of London close, right? Price ran to about a 1 to 4, okay? And I held the trade all the way until 5. I held this full volume all the way there because I have so much confidence in the daily cycles and the times at which they can run until. So here's the execution screenshot. You can see on the left that first position I took in London, how it was a break even, right? The open and the close is at the same level, no harm done there. And then you can see the second execution I took in New York off the 30-minute order block. And you can see that I held that all the way until the end of London close. So yeah, these are 3 trades that I took last week, 2 wins, 1 break even, that allowed me to secure 5R using daily cycles. I hope you found value in this video and I will catch you on the next one.